Well, here we are, delivery day. Beautiful sunny day. Scottsdale, Arizona. They even cleaned it up a little bit. As long as it's gassed up, you know my obsessive cleaning regime is about to ensue. All right, let's get her done. All right, I know it's dark in here, but I will put some light on it in the edit. But let's give you a quick tour. Look at that, 1942 air conditioning setup. The head unit's fine, I guess. And yeah, pretty dark in here, so I'll do another one of these. But let's do that first startup. All right, let's try that first startup again, D-Ray. Alrighty, folks, I'm gonna do a quick inspection of this new, to me, Z16C6 Corvette from 2011 in it's the LS3 engine and the 3LT trim level. As you probably know, if you follow my channel at all, I'm not in love with chrome, so one of the things that we'll have to address at some point here is how we handle the wheels here. But the flip of that is, I love these massive calipers. I think they're 6 piston in the front and 4 in the back, if I'm not mistaken. It's the same setup as you get on the Z06. So, loving that. A little bit more chrome there in the badging on the Grand Sport. Have a plan for that also. I did take the top off because a popular thing to comment on with Corvettes is the interiors. So we will definitely do that as well. Take care on the back. Certainly like the shape of the rear trunk lid here. Massive amounts of space back there. Now I did throw the roof in there, so that takes up some of the room. But without that in there, you could definitely get three golf bags in there, I would argue, but maybe I'll have to test that sometime. Looking at a couple of the issues I've noticed the last couple of days, as you kind of get close to it, spend more time with it. I think this is an aftermarket trim piece, the spoiler unit. And then if you look really closely here, you can see how it's not sitting right on there. So that'll be addressed. Hopefully you can, yeah. If you look at the exhaust tips here, I love the setup. I love the 4 exhaust tips, but this guy broke a couple teeth, it looks like. So probably some work to be done there too. Moving around the car, like I want to show you here the bigger brakes set up on the rears of these levels, and then on this particular wheel, there's a little bit of damage there. Again, it won't matter once I figure out what we're gonna do. The other thing that I'm gonna try and do tonight, because I'm probably gonna ruin my fingers here, but those barrels are nasty. And I think maybe some water, some Iron X, and some scrubbing, we could get those looking better. So, yep, walking around the car, finish the exterior. Like it from all angles. It's got some really good shape to it, a little less bulbous than the C5, again, one man's opinion, and then a shorter butt. And I really like the shorter butt and the wheelbase. I was shocked when I parked it next to the Spider how similar in size these cars were. I just thought for whatever reason this car was much bigger. Maybe because it's American, right? Anyway, I was surprised. It's a very similar sized car, and I know if I looked at specs I could probably have known that up front, but perception is reality. Here's the interior. I am not disappointed in these seats. I do not think they're horrible. I think the aircon unit's pretty hilarious. This little, they must have taken 2 calculator watches and stuck them together to put that in. The head unit's fine. Definitely dated. The dash is great. It's got a lot of great detail in there. lots of gauges, some of which are reported out through the heads-up unit, which is a huge thing in its favor in my eyes. Definitely do like that quite a bit. So there it is, the car. Now, obviously one thing that matters with these things, and big reason for me to pick this up, is power. You know, what's the power, right? What's the pickup? Because it's reporting big numbers at the factory. It's 430-ish horsepower at the crank. So we're gonna test that out at the wheels on the dyno that we put the Spider on. So we've got a really good point of comparison and point of reference. Then, with your help, we'll start speccing out some mods that may need to be done. So let's get on with it. I'm gonna take a look underneath too and see if everything's put together well under there. Alrighty, so I've been under the car. I'll show you a couple things that I've found under there. We already talked about these exhaust pipes being a little bit misaligned, but let me put a light on here, because look at this. See how the outside of the tire looks awesome? This thing is shredded. Now, it's not the end of the world by any stretch, but there's clearly some big old camber running on these. I think it's more or less the same on the other side here. This I should have caught. This is on me. And then the outside, so you can see how it's just totally at the angle, leaning in. Now down there, hopefully you can see when I'm flashing the light there on the transmission. There's a fluid leak there. And I did find some fluid when I moved the car. And so, yeah. We'll take that back and get looked at. That's all I noticed on the rear, except if any of you are experts thinking this is a rather large cavity here by these pipes, I'm sorry, flying you around everywhere. I'm guessing this is a muffler delete where this ridiculously horrible connection is. Again, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, given I was planning on probably going down an exhaust path anyway. But man, that's some pretty ugly metal work right there. I guess they just soldered the bugger on the end. All right, let's go to the front. A couple items on the front here. Let me show you this real close. This will be a project for the near future. I'll get that out of there. You see how there's oxidation all over these lenses? I think the sun's probably just burned through the protective coating, so that will be an upcoming project, because I think these are pretty expensive units. So before we spend money here, I'm gonna be seeing what kind of repairs we can do. I like the idea of taking it down with wet sand, compound polish, and I know that'll get it back to, or I'm confident that we'll get it back to a good level. But then to protect it, I really think might be time to pull out the paint protection film, because that should have some UV protection in it, and that's generally the problem when you strip these down. You got no more protection, so you got to find a way to replace that. You can use wax, and as long as you're good about your regimen, you can do that too. Here, we got a little bloody nose. If we take a look, I mean, this has this. You can see these ripples. This is the PPF. I wonder how much of this is PPF versus all the way through. I'm sure some of it got through, but that'll be an interesting thing to review later. Again, not the end of the world by any stretch. As we come underneath the front end, I don't see anything remarkable. I know there was a coolant leak or whatever when I picked up or was test driving the car, and they've patched it up, but you can kind of see the residue of it as it dumps down here down on the front of the car. That'll dissipate over time. And then there's some more evidence of it, and there's the oil stuff. You can see 2 plugs there. So when we do an oil change, and I'm not thinking, I think it says 57% life left in the car, and just like the ZR1, it says the 2 plugs. So anyway, back to my point. 57% life left, so you know, we'll take up that project soon, but it empties from 2 spots because it's got the dry sump in there, which is really nice, obviously, from a performance standpoint. So that's the review. I'm gonna get on clean these wheels. Hopefully I'll patch together enough of a video to give you at least some kind of assessment. And watch the space. A lot more to come on this guy. Next up, dyno.